Brooke and I are just moms. We are not experts. We're supporters of educating people about abuse. And I think during this pandemic, the percentage of abuse skyrocketed for children, for adults, men, women, animals. And I think this is the time, this has been a real wake-up call on how we view and deal with abuse.
I wanted to join the retreat because I saw the abuse that some of my friends were going through from such an early age.
She would come to me and talk about all of the things that he said to her and how he made her feel worthless, and would always argue with her and tell her that like her opinions didn't matter.
Someone I go to school with, their partner asked for all of their social media passwords.
Like constantly belittling her.
So they wanted to control them not only in person, but over the digital world as well.
Some of my friends, they were in relationships where the person would threaten them, either physically or verbally, or threaten to harm themselves if they left the relationship.
Just made her feel like she wasn't good enough. And I know more than anything that she is good enough for anyone.
So that really inspired me to join the retreat.
Our girls are starting to get involved in relationships that are somewhat adult. And there is emotional abuse when their partner, whether it's another boy or a girl or a they, tends to dominate them and overpower them.
It's taking your partner's cell phones and methods of communication away from them.
Checking their phone constantly, asking for passwords.
It's going through their phones, it's a lack of trust.
Wanting to know everything about their day, who they're with, just not trusting them.
They think they want to be independent, but what they really are doing is they are allowing their selves to be dominated.
Yeah.
Told what to wear, told who to hang out with, how to be.
Controlling one partner, controlling another, not giving the partner enough space, telling them who they can and can't talk with or hang out with.
For digital harassment, it can be constantly texting someone. It can be controlling who someone follows online and who someone talks to online.
I've seen abuse in that way. I never really thought of it that way. And it's been really eye-opening to me to see the subtle ways that abuse starts.
Sometimes it's more subtle, like forcing your significant other to post something for a 1-month anniversary to show the world that you're mine.
I think when we grew up, you thought if somebody was abused, they'd have bruises, which they do, but sometimes it's very, very, very hard to mine. You don't always see it.
It's not always like how you see in the movies and stuff. It's very small, like putting your anniversary in your bios together, or having matching profile pictures if the other person doesn't want to. It's considered very normal, so people don't notice that much.
One of the things that I have been hammering into my kids' brains is do not send nudes. Do not send nudes.
There's also a pressure to send nudes among teens. Yeah.
I mean, I honestly, my fear is that my girls aren't afraid enough.
So sometimes it can obviously go to the extremes, like leaked nudes.
We were talking about earlier is the idea of instincts, right? Something comes over you. Mm-hmm. It's the gift of fear. It's that. What is terrifying to me about also the internet is that we feel like it's one step removed, right? So you don't have that biological, your synapses fire differently, or some hormone is secreted, or their fight or flight. You don't have that because it's in an isolated way.
I feel like people, when digitally abusing someone, can be a lot more relentless than they could be, say, in person, because they're hiding behind a screen.
And so that's even more toxic because you don't even have the luxury of a human instinct to possibly respond to.
So they can just repeatedly send texts or messages or just harass someone, which makes it a lot harder to control, a lot more dangerous.
And it doesn't just happen over there. The parents have to realize that it's we are among it. Abuse is such a, it's so toxic because it is brilliant.
Abusive relationships are, by their nature, very, very personal.
It's a brilliant disease in a weird way because it's so custom made.
Which is why some people get stuck in those situations for so long, because like once you're in it, it's hard to get out, but then you don't even realize that you're in it in the first place.
You know, it starts off with not liking the dress, or it's keeping you away from the friends, or you know, there's this sort of slow sequestering of someone, and that is interpreted as, oh, they really love me.
A healthy relationship to me has communication, respect, and boundaries.
There's so many different types of healthy relationships, but they're all based on respect and boundaries.
Respectful, trusting.
Clear boundaries.
Boundaries, space, respect.
At the beginning of the relationship, when people are getting into it, they'll set boundaries so neither person would be uncomfortable.
It's not one person taking control over every situation.
Communication and mutual agreement between both.
Healthy relationships have calm conversations, usually sitting down, talking slowly, calmly, looking at each other.
It should be a fun relationship.
As long as you are having those conversations and being respectful and knowing what the boundaries are within a relationship, then it will be healthy.
So if you're a parent or a child, it's time to have those conversations. And we need to stamp out the idea of abuse for the generations to come, because there should not be one child or one adult that's ever hit or sexually abused or even emotionally abused.
We look at it as an uncomfortable conversation, and that has to change. Don't be scared of the conversation. Don't be afraid. If you can't have the conversation with a parent or a friend, use the retreat. Use allagainstabuse.org. There are people waiting to have this conversation with you. You're not alone, and you deserve to be heard, and this has got to stop.